Oh yeah, Carlos Santana. Some of the other music you'll hear in the background is from a band, a local band actually in Phoenix called Turning Point. Anyways, I dumped my fucking bike in the garage cleaning it, and I bent my handlebars. So that is the beginning of this story. Okay, this video is in case you are replacing the handlebars on the DR650. Do not do anything until you see this video or other videos. And the main reason why is because if you are replacing all of your grips, this video might be a little bit helpful, but it does not address the replacement of the throttle tube. So if you're replacing the grips and you're going to have to replace the throttle tube and all that, there's probably some additional videos that you're going to watch or going to want to watch. This video here, I kept the original grips and on both sides, obviously, and that way I didn't have to replace you know, this assembly here and the throttle tube and whatnot. So that made it just a shit ton easier for me. And I apologize that the man cave is a disaster. So I got some ProTaper bars, put them on, and I'm really happy with the way they came out. It's got the SC on there, that stands for 7/8. That's the same as the stock outside diameter. Everything looks good. There is a really good video, which I'll put in the link in the description below. And it's only about 5 minutes long, but it took me several hours, to say the least, to get this to where I am right now. So it's all done, everything's good. And just stick with me here because I have some, I think, helpful tips that will help you guys if you want to have the bike looking as kind of stock as normal. And that includes these end weights or vibration dampener deals. But anyways, I really like the way that it came out. That's the way that it looks right now. And that's the way that I'm going to keep it. I am not putting on the ProTaper cover over the pad because I want it to look as stock as possible. But that pad is glued on there and it won't come off. One thing you guys are also going to want to do is make sure that you put down a towel or something over your tank and over the front, because you're going to be taking all of this stuff off and it's going to be laying around, hanging around and whatnot, and you know, messing with the handlebars and getting shit back on and to fit and whatnot. You don't want to be scratching up your tank or your fender or any of your instruments and those kinds of things. So before you begin, put down some protection so you don't booger up the mighty DR650. One thing you guys are going to want to do is pop one of these bolts out on either end and just lift that crossbar with the pad on it out of your way, and it makes tightening those bolts a lot easier. Back in the old days, the foam pad used to be slit in the middle and you could pop it on or off real easy, but this one's glued on there somehow, and so it's staying. So pop that thing free, and then that'll give you a lot of room to work with the socket versus a wrench when you're tightening your bars. Now they fit, and that drill bit size was 15/64. 15/64. Okay, so these are the original bars, and one thing that comes on the stock DR, some people call them end weights, which is that little fella there that fits in the end there, and screws in, and it's got a rubber. It's really a vibration dampener, in my opinion, more than it is an end weight, and they work really well. I put the PROTAPER bars on there, and these don't fit, okay, which just sucks. I want to show you. Okay, so here's, don't want to booger it up. There's the stock bar, and look how much thicker that PROTAPER bar is. Okay, that's at least twice as thick. So these, the vibration dampeners or end weights or whatever, they don't fit. Okay, so what do? What I did, and I'm very happy that I took the time to do this and figure it out, is you take you take it all apart, get the rubber piece off, and then I just took a razor blade and went up and down and shaved this thing, and it took a little bit of time, and I mean 10 minutes, okay? Shave it down, shave it down, shave it down, and then finally at the end I kind of smoothed it a little bit with the Dremel. Okay, and then the nut, this nut has to fit inside the handlebars, because this is the wrong bars, but that fits in there, and then the end weight goes on the screw here. So that nut is too big. There's the stock size. It's kind of hard to tell, but that, where am I at? That won't fit. None of that shit fits in there because it's so thick. It's so much thicker. So I took my Dremel and a grinding wheel of some kind, and we just went around in circles, and slowly ground it down until all of that fits in there. Okay, so I'm gonna put this thing on the tripod, and then I want to show you how to put. You got to be careful when you put this in, because if you don't do it right, the little bolt's gonna fall in there, and you're fucked. All right, so I'm gonna show you how, the best way I think to do it, because once you get this ground down, and this fits in there, that fits in there really snugly, and you can't just shove it in, or the bolt will go flying inside the handlebars. All right, so I'll show you my little trick. Okay, so what I've done is, there's the bolt, and inside the rubber, it's cut square, so this piece slides up in there like so. Okay, so take the rubber piece off carefully, of course, run that screw in all the way, and then we're gonna stick the bolt and the screw in there, and then we're gonna work the rubber in, and then we're gonna twist this until you feel it catch, and then we'll bring it back as far as we can. And then once you put the end weight on with the modified washers, the number 10 modified washers that I had to drill out, that'll end up drawing that back like that, and then it pinches that like it does in the original condition, and holds that vibration dampener in place. Okay? Okay, so hopefully you can see this. I'll test it. Screws out, and it's not going to fall inside the handlebar. And then you get your little rubber deal. And if you're careful with it, you get that just like you want it, nice and flush like that. And then twist that, and you can feel it catch. And then you can kind of wiggle it backwards. Push your rubber deal back as needed. Okay, that's good. Okay, so continuing on here, get ready to slice the big piece out. And then so unscrew your screw once your deal's set in there correctly, which I just checked it with a flashlight. And it looks like it's good. One more check. Yeah, we're good there. And then again, once, hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, so there's the end weight. Screw goes in there. There's my 3 modified washers that I had to drill out, which is about the same thickness as the washer that it comes with, but these are small enough in diameter to where they'll fit in there. Just kind of get that like so. Screw that in. All set, and that looks about exactly like it did when I bought the bike. Sorry about the lighting. And while testing it, after I put the bars on, without the counterweights, the vibration was very noticeable, substantially different. So that's the throttle side there, and did all of that fabricating. And if you guys are going to build a Rotorway 162F like Mark Evans, you're going to need to know how to turn a screwdriver and fabricate some parts. So anyways, modified that, put it all back together. Love it. It's nice and tight. If the bike takes a fall like it did, which is why I'm putting on new fucking handlebars, that's you know, that'll help protect that end and your mirror and whatnot. And then the vibration dampening is so noticeable. I've already tested this. I'm very, very happy that I went through the trouble to refabricate these parts and put it back the way that the bike came. Here's my little clusterfuck fabrication area. And now it's time to begin on the other side. Number 10 flat washers. Little bitty, and about 3 of them make up the same thickness as the original washer. However, these fit into the diameter, the interior diameter, inside diameter of the thicker ProTaper handlebars. Yep, number 10, come out. Okay, some of the things you guys are gonna need before starting or while you're going or whatever is, you know, some screwdrivers, a 12 millimeter and 8 millimeter. You can use a file or a Dremel. There's my little Dremel. And then I got this little nifty bit that helps grind down shit that is on the throttle deal or the clutch deal, that has a little nub on it. Maybe it's the starter assembly or whatever the fuck it is, you'll figure it out. There's a hole on the handlebars there. That's the throttle side, okay? And then there's another hole. Where the fuck are you? Oh, there you are. Right there for part of the turn signal and light assembly. And the aftermarket bars don't come with those holes, so you're gonna, when you take it apart, there's 2 little nubs that stick down. One's on this the starter deal here. There's a nub on there, and just take it apart and then grind that down. And then there's one on the light switch turn signal assembly that you'll have to pop that whole thing apart. You don't have to disassemble it or nothing, or unwire it or nothing, but just take it apart, take the screws out, split it open, and then like on one side, you know, you'll have like the bottom half or the top half or whatever the fuck it is, and there's a little nubby deal in there, and then you'll want to take your Dremel and grind that down. So just anticipate that. Additionally, you do not have to take the mirrors off. You can if you want, but you don't have to do that when you're taking this off, because, you know, if you can imagine, here's the mirror obviously, and here's the little couple bolts. Once you take this off, the whole thing comes off. So take the mirror off if you want to. Don't take it off if you want to. It fucking doesn't matter to me. But I'm leaving that cover off of the foam pad there for 99% of my riding. If I go out in the mud and the water and the goo, I'll put it on just so it doesn't booger it up or just get, you know, a bunch of mud and crap down in there. But I don't like the plastic cover on there, and I'm going to leave it off for most of my riding. This is my little, it's a hanger that I cut. You'll see it on the video, and you stick it into the, between the grip and the handlebar on the clutch side only. And then you just twist it and it kind of works itself around the handlebar and breaks that other grip free. And that's if you, hopefully like I did, intend to retain and keep the original grips. This video is not going to be too helpful if you plan on changing your grips. And the reason why is because on the throttle side, I boogered this up, even though you can't tell because I got my end caps back on here, my anti-vibration thingamajiggers. This thing is molded together, okay? So unless you plan on tearing this whole thing apart, your whole throttle assembly apart, and putting on a new throttle tube, if you plan or can keep your original grips, do so. It'll make it much easier, because the only thing I had to do was you know, get some grip glue and just glue on the one side, and I was done. One other thing I had to do is, after I removed the clutch side handle grip, it's got a bunch of glue in there, and you're going to be squirting with WD-40 and shit like that to get that off, even with your little bent piece of hanger. I cleaned it out real good, wiped it out real good, and then I took a piece of sandpaper, rolled it up, and then just twisted it and ran it up and down the inside to get the remaining glue off of there, which helped it really, really well.